Hey everyone, my name is Logan Kirk with RockyMountainMysticMan.com. In this video, we're going to be uncovering the secrets to surviving the night in a Mylar emergency bag. So stay tuned to the end to find out why this is one of the most important items you need to add to any everyday carry survival kit. Now, there are many brands of Mylar bags in the market, and they are for the most part all very similar. A lot of the time, it's just going to be a matter of whether you want it in safety orange, a camo pattern, or the traditional Mylar silver. I don't really worry about that kind of thing personally, but it may be important to you if you care about such things. And I'm not here to judge, so when it really comes down to it, you just need to be sure that the one that you choose has a good and strong seam tape and is also large enough to fit you completely inside of it. You don't want to break one of these out in an emergency and find out that it's meant for your 5'2" girlfriend, or even worse, a 9-year-old. So make sure that you check the size when you are making your purchase and adding it to your loadout. I like mine to be large enough that when I crawl inside, I can close up the entrance nice and tight with just my face sticking out. It's important that you also note here that if you completely close yourself up in one of these overnight, and I mean covering your nose and your mouth inside it, you're gonna wake up wet, okay? Human beings, we put off a crap load of moisture from our breathing and bodily perspiration. This is why I always do the mummy bag effect and have my face sticking out. And I can tell you from experience that the immediate warmth you get from keeping your head under the Mylar is not worth the cold and wet that you will be contending with when you crawl out the next morning. All right. One of the other things to consider when adding a Mylar sheet or bag to your loadout is, well, do you go with the sheet or do you get the bag? I'm going to just tell you right now, go with the bag/tent versions. That is my expert recommendation, period. All right, there are so many more ways to utilize them, and when it comes to trapping your body heat, nothing compares to the bags. The bags can also be converted to a makeshift shelter way easier and quicker than when just using the old school single Mylar sheet. But any Mylar is better than no Mylar when it comes to surviving outside in the elements. All right. Now, I have been overnights in an emergency snow cave. I mean, if you could call it that, it was more of just a small bolt hole with a Mylar sheet. And there is no doubt in my mind that the reason I survived those nights was the Mylar. You're also going to need to build up an additional insulating layer underneath you, especially in the snow, on rock, and at higher elevation. Unless you have something to insulate you from the ground under your Mylar sheet, you will still be extremely cold. So finding some natural insulator to use between your Mylar and the ground, it's going to help make all the difference between barely surviving the night and actually getting the much needed rest that you will be needing to extract yourself from a situation or survive while you wait for rescue. Now, as far as insulation goes, I have used tree boughs, pine needles, leaves. I've even used trash, but the number one insulator that I've ever used is cattail. Seriously, you need to count yourself lucky as all get out in a survival situation if you happen to be near a supply of cattails. Not only do the brown heads strip off, and because some of the best insulation next to goose down that you can really find, but the tubers of the plant, yeah, they're very much edible and easy to prepare. You can eat them raw if you need to, but I have found personally that cooking them over a fire increases the palatability greatly. Not to mention that psychological boon you receive from eating something hot when you're trying to get your body warm. Now, of course, that is assuming you can make fire in the first place. If you are able to make a fire, then you will find that the Mylar used in a half shelter configuration to trap the radiating heat from the fire can make for an extremely better sleep. I mean, seriously, Mylar sheets and bags, they need to be in everyone's bug out bags, your hiking bags, your haversacks, possible bags, even your vehicles, etc. These things, they really do save lives, and it's no joke. This is why I carry 3 of them in my haversack. I don't like being cold and wet, and I always seem to end up cold and wet when things go wrong out here. And that's just been my luck. So once when I was on Mount Hood in Oregon, I fell through some ice during a search and rescue that I was involved in. I only went in up to a little over my waist, but I was instantly out of breath and at risk for hypothermia and frostbite. I mean, it was snowing extremely hard, and it was already so damn cold, and nightfall was on its way. There was no way for me to get back to base camp quickly and safely enough to warm up and dry off. So at this time, it was just my dog, Odin, and I. I stripped down naked and cuddled for a little more than an hour or so with my dog inside the Mylar bag with my wet pants tucked all the way down at my feet. This was enough to raise my body temperature to a safe level, warm my wet clothes, and enable me to get dressed and move as fast as I could back to base camp and get some dry clothes on. I mean, that was a super hard time, you guys. But my Mylar bag, that saved me from possibly losing my toes, a limb, my testicles, or even dying out there on the lake where no one would have found me till next summer or spring. So it's easy to see why I'm a Mylar advocate, and I hope you guys have learned the importance of Mylar and its ability to save your life. I'm gonna crawl inside my bag now and call it a night. So don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and also let's hit that bell so you can join me in more videos like this and about mountain man life. So I'll see you guys soon. It's cold, the weather is crummy. I need some sleep. See you later.